Diving into Fort Madison's history, that was the theme this afternoon at the city's oldest cemetery. Today marked the Historic Preservation Commission's first cemetery tour. There are two of them today. The tour featured several actors who portrayed some of the earliest residents who are buried there. City leaders say shining a light on the past is important.
I think it's important for us to understand who I would want to say forefathers are of our communities all over the United States. And I think definitely in Iowa and in like Fort Madison, a lot of people don't realize how many people really set forth and laid groundwork in their communities to be who they are today.
And the city manager says the cemetery right now is officially full. One World War II